So in this video, I want to talk about Saweetie recently saying on Instagram that if a man isn't paying bills or buying Birkin bags, then give him back to the streets. And I want to talk about how both black men and black women have been having meltdowns about what she said all over social media, I don't know, for the last few days or so. And I believe that Saweetie is a mixed woman. And not only that, she is a celebrity with a ton of money. So I don't want you guys to think that I'm saying that she's super relatable to most black women, because that is not what I'm saying. But since all black women are being dragged into this as if all of us are demanding Birkin bags from every man that we date, and all of us have these astronomically high standards, I do feel that I need to speak on this. And because I know that there are binary thinkers out there and people who are going to intentionally twist my words and take what I say here out of context, I do want to put it out there that this is not me caping for Saweetie or Quavo. I'm not putting a mixed woman or her low quality black male entertainer on a pedestal. This is not personal to them as people. I'm more so using them as an example to address a bigger issue. So even though Saweetie specifically mentioned Birkin bags, I do feel that the backlash from black people is really showing how much we lack critical thinking skills, because we're taking what she said literally. Like, she doesn't know that all women or most women who follow her won't get a Birkin bag from their man. I don't think she's that out of touch. And in my opinion, her point was that if a man isn't a provider, if he isn't giving you nice things or treating you like you are special, then don't deal with him. And I really do think people are intentionally missing the point, or they are projecting because they feel a way about not being able to afford a Birkin bag. If they're a man, or if they're a woman, they may feel some type of way about not being able to get one from their man or their baby daddy. And I get it. Most of us are average or slightly above average financially. Most of us cannot afford Birkin bags. Realistically, ladies, most of us will never be millionaires. Most of us will never have millionaire men. There just aren't enough to go around. And I think most black women know that, especially. But I think the point was your man should be doing nice things for you. If it's not a Birkin bag, then maybe a Michael Kors bag or a Coach bag or something like that, which most black women especially are not going to turn down. Most of us don't have standards as high as Saweetie, which is why a lot of black women were offended by this too. So it does kind of irritate me a little bit that we're being lumped in and painted as some women with astronomically high standards when the numbers just don't bear that out. We don't have a history of demanding Birkin bags. Statistically, we're marrying down. So it's very disingenuous to say that, you know, most black women think like Saweetie. Hell, it would be nice though. It would be nice if most black women even had a fraction of Saweetie's mentality. It would be nice if most of us at least demanded a Michael Kors bag or even a Tiffany necklace. Or how about this? Just a nice wedding ring before you have these men's babies, so we wouldn't be out here struggling with these dusties and their children. But unfortunately, black women don't think like that. But see, I'll tell you what this is about, ladies. What the men who are complaining are really mad about is that Saweetie, a mixed race woman who is their preference, because ladies, Saweetie is the black man's preference. Let's just be honest here. I know they're mad at what she said, and, you know, they're trying to say she's ugly and all this stuff, but let's be honest. Saweetie is a lot of black men's preference. And when your preference requires more than you can afford, yeah, it probably stings a little. And what these men are doing is applying the standards of their fantasy women to all women, when most women are far more reasonable and will accept a nice, comfortable lifestyle, even if the man is not a millionaire or if the man cannot afford a Birkin bag. And as someone who doesn't have as much money as Saweetie, as someone who doesn't have a man who makes as much as Quavo, I wasn't offended by what she said at all. I didn't take offense to it at all. And I think that most of the black women who did, maybe you're just used to dealing with dusties and you're projecting your anger about that onto Saweetie. And I'm not even, you know, fully blaming black women for that. A lot of us were conditioned to date down and deal with broke men and hold a brother down and, you know, be the come up woman and build a brother up and all that stuff. So it's not even your fault, but I do feel like a lot of you are projecting your anger about that onto Saweetie. And it's the same thing with the men. They can't afford to get their women nice things, so they're mad about what she said. It's a lot of projection and feelings of inadequacy going on here. And just looking at all of the backlash she's getting over this, it only proved my point about what I said in the video I made. I think it was about a year ago now. In the video I made about keeping your hypergamy and level up journey to yourself and keeping it private and moving in silence. And I'm so glad other Black women are repeating this now, because it's never going to play out well when you as a woman announce to the world that you prefer a man with money. Even though men themselves are responsible for this kind of thinking and this kind of relationship dynamic, you know, this I'll give you money for your beauty type of thing, or vice versa. They're responsible for this, right? But women can't say that. You know, women can't say, hey, I prefer a man with money, even though they can say they want beautiful women, light-skinned women, or whatever else. But when women announce their preference, it's going to be a problem. And this is why it's insane for Black women in particular to get mad about this. Like, Black men especially are not afraid to tell the world what their preference is. And they don't care if it ain't you. They don't care if they offend you or anything. And this does show that when women announce their preferences, men who don't fit that preference can't handle it. We saw how they treated Issa Rae, B. Simone, when she came out and announced her preference. I mean, having meltdowns all over the place. So, you know, when they tell you, oh, it's just my preference. Well, when Black women or mixed women announce their preferences, I mean, you have the same reaction that we do when you announce yours. So, like I always say, nobody likes it when they are not the preference. It's a normal reaction. I mean, and even Black men don't like it. And we see that time and time again when women come out and announce who they like, and it's not Black men, or they can't fit into that standard. But I do think that everyday Black women especially should move in silence, because it benefits you. You should move in silence in regards to your hypergamy preferences, because we have more to lose than someone like Saweetie. Saweetie has more access to high value men than the everyday Black woman. And even with her, what if it doesn't work out with Quavo? She might turn off other men of means that she would have had, or who would have been interested in her, if she kept her mouth shut, if things don't work out with Quavo. And I say that because most high value men, they don't usually like to hear women say explicitly that they are there for the money, even if they know that's why the women are there. But even with that being said, men will still get with gold diggers that they know are gold diggers if they feel the woman is attractive enough. I mean, they can just say it and the man not care. Like Quavo, he did not care. And see, that's another reason this is so funny to me, because Black men in particular, they have shown the world that they will pay for this kind of woman, for a woman like Saweetie. So her arrogance didn't just come out of nowhere. She knows that men are going to pay her bills. She knows that she's going to get her Birkin bag from one of these rappers, right? Men are beauty diggers and women are gold diggers. And when you think about it like that, it's fair game, fellas. It's fair game. You dig for women's beauty and women are going to dig for your gold. It's an even exchange. And if most Black men had the money, let's just be honest, they'd be buying Birkin bags too for the women that they wanted, especially these red bones like Saweetie that they love so much. And this goes beyond Black men. That's men, period. If they have the money, they will pay for their fantasy woman. And see, this is why you have to watch what men do. You can't go solely off what they say, ladies. You have to watch what they do. High value Black men and high value men in general always get with women who want them for their money, no matter what they say about not wanting gold diggers. You think Quavo doesn't already know why Saweetie is there? He knows. He knows. That's why he just shrugged, like, whatever. You know, men with money always get with so-called gold diggers. They get with pretty women who they know wouldn't give them the time of day if they were broke. Yet they're telling us everyday women that they don't like gold diggers, right? So you have to see the game that's being played here when it comes to men. And all I'm saying to men is that it's too late, guys. You've already let it be known that you will pay for a beauty. And this is why you have a lot of women getting these BBLs, paying for their Instagram baddie bodies, lightening their skin, getting their faces done, because they too want a Quavo. They too want a man of means, right? And I'm not saying that's the only reason they do it. A lot of them do it because they want to feel better in their bodies, but getting men of means is a huge part of it. Let's be honest, ladies. And I'm not saying Saweetie doesn't actually like Quavo. I don't know their relationship. I'm not in their business. But I do know that a lot of those kind of women are really good at pretending. They're really good at pretending to like men of means, or maybe it's just a silent agreement between the two. Maybe they know why the other is there and they just don't care. They figure it's an equal exchange. Money in exchange for beauty and vice versa. See, a lot of us broke people or average people or slightly above average people, we don't understand, like, the people with money like Saweetie and Quavo, they don't care. They don't care. They're not going to be mad like you. They know why the other party is there. You really cannot force your broke opinions onto them, you guys. It's money in exchange for beauty and vice versa. And when it comes to men, I'm like, listen, you would do it too. So why are you mad at this when, one, it's an exchange that you created, and two, you're getting something out of the deal. You're getting beauty, you're getting sex, eventually you'll get some kids, and that does sound like an equal exchange to me. But I will acknowledge that for everyday Black women, especially who are trying to level up, who are trying to be hypergamous, or who are living, upper middle class lifestyle, who are living comfortably, it's in your best interest that this kind of stuff is better left unsaid. You're not a rapper, you're not a ratchet. You can't get away with that like Saweetie can, okay? But just keep it in the back of your mind, ladies, that no matter what men are telling you, they do look at you some type of way if you give your body and your womb to a broke man. No matter how much you love him, no matter how much you say you loved him for him, if he don't have nothing and he's low value and he's a dusty, even the men are going to look at you some type of way. Even the dusty men themselves are going to be like, why are you dealing with me? Why did you have my baby? They don't even know why you messing with them. So again, you have to look at what men do, not so much what they say. It's just what it is. And the hypergamous mindset always prioritizes a man's money. I don't care what they say. I'm not saying to completely disregard other qualities, but hypergamy never prioritizes attraction. It never prioritizes love. And that goes for every race of woman. You think all these beautiful models and all these women on the arms of rich men, you think all of them are genuinely attracted to those men or were initially attracted to them before they found out they were rich? Please. They're good actresses is what they are. They might like them to an extent. They might like certain things about their personality, or they might be compatible in other ways. But if you believe all of those men were their first preference physically, you're a fool. Now, I wouldn't recommend Black women especially going around saying what I just said, especially to men of means that you might want, but, not so attracted to. But I say it in my videos to get Black women in the right mindset so you'll stop focusing so much on looks. That's my purpose of saying it. Listen, I'm anonymous on YouTube. There's nobody I have to mask my words for. There's no high value man on here I'm trying to impress or get to like me. I have one already. I don't care if the dusties on here get mad at the game I'm giving. They don't matter. My purpose here is to get other Black women on game, and I have to be honest and tell you the truth. It's kind of like a catch-22 for me. It's like I don't really want to say it out loud, but I have to say it out loud to reach more Black women and girls. It is what it is, because a lot of you are entertaining dusties, right? But the information I'm giving you is for you to keep in the back of your mind and use in the real world, not to share on your social media like Saweetie did, okay? Don't do that. You can't get away with what she gets away with. And I would never tell a man what I'm saying to you about looks versus finances, because most of them cannot handle it, ladies. And it took me even a while to understand this. Like, a lot of men just can't handle the truth. Even if it's something they're participating in, they don't want to hear you say it. They don't want to hear you say it. Listen, I'll never be a woman who needs a strong physical attraction to date a man. I've always been that way since being very, very young. I have never prioritized looks. I always prioritize resources and other non-physical qualities when it comes to vetting men. I'm attracted to really confident, manly men who are sure of themselves, men who have the ability to be responsible. For me, a man who is confident and handles his business, that's sexy to me. That attracts me. And that will always trump what he looks like. That will always trump his height and everything else. I mean, what is worse than a man who looks good but who's broke or effeminate? Ew. Like, I can't bring myself to be turned on by that. I just can't. I never have been that way. And all the women I know who have my same mindset end up being better off than the women who prioritize what a man looks like. Now, if you happen to be a woman that finds all of that in one man, consider yourself lucky. But I'm telling you that you might have to compromise on some things to get a man of means. He won't always be 6 feet tall with the BBC. That is completely unrealistic. So you must be realistic. And speaking of realistic, I keep hearing this talk from black men about black women being unrealistic and too average looking to get a designer bag and to get nice meals at Ruth Chris, as if Ruth Chris is just like so fancy. It's crazy to hear black men talking about how much they think black women are worth. And I'm just like, you know what? The women who refuse to date black men nowadays, like the young women in the dating scene, I totally understand. I totally empathize with you, and I totally get it, because the way they're out here talking, you don't even deserve Ruth Chris, according to them. It is just crazy. And, listen, I am all about black women being realistic. I'm all about people staying in their lane and being realistic about what they can and can't get. That's why I always talk about compromises, because realistically, if you're not a drop dead gorgeous model, you're probably not going to get a drop dead gorgeous man who also has money and, all these cars and who can buy you Birkin bags. You're going to have to compromise on some things, ladies. It just is what it is. Obviously, the more conventionally attractive and fit a woman is, the higher chance she has to get a wealthy man. I am not refuting that at all. When it comes to that, I 100% agree with the men. But ladies, think about it. There are black men telling black women that we're only cute enough to get a black man who makes $40,000 a year. Well, if that is true, ladies, I'm just going to say it. You either need to swirl or stay single. Unless you're okay with, having a 50-50 relationship or dating down for the women who make more than $40K a year. And I say that because these $40,000 a year men talking shit, they still want a traditional woman. They still want a traditional woman who submits, who cooks for them, who takes care of their babies, who cleans the house. They still want all that, even if she herself is bringing the equal amount of finances or more to the table. So you see, again, I always say that's not 50-50. If the woman is doing all of that, cooking, cleaning, taking care of your kids, and putting out 50% of her check, no, that's not 50-50 anymore. Okay, you're putting in more than your 50%. But look, if you are in a relationship where it really is 50-50 and your man helps you with the children equally, and he cooks and you do everything equally and it's working out for you, obviously this does not apply to you. Listen, if your man makes $40,000 a year, you make $40,000 a year, that's an $80,000 a year salary, and you can take care of a family with that. I'm not knocking that at all. And realistically, most couples, they both have to work these days. So I'm not trying to sell you guys a dream or anything like that. But I am telling you to think about it. Let's just say you want 2 or 3 kids. For a family of 4 or 5 living in a decent area, how far do you think that $80,000 a year is going to go? How stressful do you think that's going to be in terms of you having to pull a lot of the weight and work and still do all of this extra stuff around the house? You need to make up in your mind, especially for the women who haven't made their decision yet, like make up in your mind if this is something that you want to deal with. Because in my mind, I would rather be single than deal with that. That's just me. Now, a lot of you prioritize, togetherness and relationships and love, and you don't want to be alone. But for the women who think like me, listen, you need to think about that. And all I'm saying is be careful when listening to these men tell you how much your womb is worth. There are a lot of unhappy black women in particular out there with 3 kids by a $40,000 a year making man, struggling to make ends meet right now. And if they could do it again, they wouldn't. They wouldn't. Those are a lot of the women who are mad at Saweetie right now, giving 3-4 kids to their baby daddy that only makes $30,000 and $40,000 a year. The same type of men, these men online are telling you that that's all you're good for. That's where your value stops at. And I'm saying I don't believe what they say, because listen, I go to Fogo de Chao, I go to Ruth Chris, I go to all those places. All those places are not full of models. They're full of everyday average women, white, black, otherwise. But I'm just saying, ladies, if you can't find a black man that will do that for you, and because they're saying you're too average looking, then you need to swirl. Because I have seen white men, non-black men taking their average, slightly above average looking black girlfriends out to Fogo de Chao and Ruth Chris with no problem. And I'm not using average and slightly above average in a bad way. We're all average. Okay. Most of us are average. 90% of us, 95, probably higher than 90% of us are average looking, men and women. Most men are average financially. So average is not a bad word over here. But all I'm saying, if you got men telling you, you're too average to go here, to go there, to get this and that, then they're too average for you to give your womb to. So before you let these men convince you of what your value is, you need to look at what all you have to sacrifice as a woman and what all you have to give, okay? And when it comes to Black women specifically, Black men, they will say to you, they'll say, Black women choose better. Think more like non-Black women. White women, and even women like Saweetie, they'll tell you in one breath to think like them, think more like them. Prioritize finances. Only choose a man with resources. They're telling you this in one breath, and then the next minute they're saying you're a gold digger if you think like that. This is why you have to take what they say with a grain of salt, ladies. They'll tell you to choose men who can comfortably take care of a family, but when you do, even when you're not asking for a Birkin bag, then you're going to be called a gold digger. Either way it goes, ladies, we literally can't win. And they will intentionally twist everything you say to make it something that it's not, like they did with Saweetie. This is precisely why I stopped conversing with and trying to reason with the men online, because they will intentionally misunderstand you and twist your words. At that point, I'm just like, okay, there can be no honest discussion. There can be no reasoning with you because you're intentionally going to miss the point. And that's what happens every time women do what Saweetie did. So once again, I just recommend that you keep your hypergamy lifestyle or level up plans to yourself to avoid all of this. Just move in silence. You don't have to announce to the world, what you plan on doing and how your man buys you this and buys you that. I understand you're trying to put other women on game, but when you're a public figure and you got your face out there, you might not want to do that. You might not want to post this kind of stuff on your Facebook, when you have your coworkers, as friends on Facebook, all that kind of stuff. So just move a little bit more strategically and don't announce what you do in your relationships or what your plans are, what your preferences are to the world. Unfortunately, you just don't have the luxury to do that. Move in silence and let your actions and your lifestyle do the talking. And I'll have something in place soon to help you guys with moving in stealth. So stay tuned for that announcement. I won't speak too much on it right now, but you will hear that announcement soon. So that is all I have to say about this. Let me know what you think down in the comment section, and I'll catch up with you in the next video.